Hi everyone, welcome to Lola's Frugal Life. This is episode number 123. Today we're going to be talking about having a positive mindset. So please stick around for a few quick words from our sponsor and we'll get right into the show. Hi everyone. So today I wanted to talk about positive mindset. It's something that I really love to listen about and talk about and read about and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it'd be fun to do an episode on it. Before we get into the episode, like I always do on my non-frugal topic episodes, I like to share a frugal tip of the week so that we still have some frugal aspect to the show. So this week's frugal tip of the week is to try to find recipe substitutes when there's a specific unusual ingredient that you need for a recipe. So say for example, my daughter likes this pumpkin chili that I make in the fall, and the recipe calls for tomato juice, and it's not something I normally buy, and for some reason whenever I have gone to buy it, it's been in a 6-pack or a jar that was way bigger than what I needed for the recipe, and I would buy it and then I'd have it in the cabinet and I'd be sitting there always trying to figure out what am I going to do with this, and it was just really a pain in the neck and kind of a waste of money. So I looked up online tomato juice substitute for recipe, and simply all I had to do was take some tomato sauce and I forget a certain amount of water to thin it out, the consistency of the juice, and it served the same exact purpose in the recipe. I can't imagine that we would have noticed the difference in taste between using the two. So I know that there's certain ingredients that you do truly need to use that specific ingredient because it gives a specific taste or consistency or something like that. So I'm not saying you could always do this, but many times there are ways you can substitute an ingredient with something you already have and really have minimal, if any, impact on the recipe. And then you don't have to go out and spend that extra money and time and then storage space on something that you're not going to use again because it's only needed for that one particular recipe. So that's my frugal tip of the week. So anyway, like I said, this week I wanted to talk about positive mindset. So mindset is it's kind of the way that we handle situations, the way we kind of sort out in our mind how we're going to deal with something and what we're going to do when various situations and things happen in our life. It's kind of your overall attitude, I guess, in how you approach things. Sometimes it's kind of can be a habit. Some people can habitually approach things in a negative way, and some people approach things in a positive way. And some of that is definitely your nature, I think, but you can definitely make changes to consciously think about how you're approaching things and to make improvements. And it's just kind of fun because you have power over it, and you can feel good in many different situations because you stopped and thought and chose to change how you were going to approach something. So it's kind of how your mindset is, how you're going to approach things. It plays a big role in how you cope with challenges that come up, or I don't mean major crisis. I just mean just challenges in every day. Maybe you got a really stressful work project, or maybe it's just a really busy time in life and you're trying to manage many things, or maybe there is an injury or in the family, or an illness or something, not super critical. I'm just talking about everyday life and just how you manage and deal with these types of things that come up. So with a positive, looking at your mindset, you can look at ways of how you're reacting to things and try and practice changing that to be more positive. So having a positive mindset doesn't mean that you're going to ignore bad things. Bad things are going to happen. You're going to be upset about things. I mean, you're not going to sit there and fake and pretend that you're happy about everything. That's not a positive mindset. It's more about having an expectation that things will turn out well and that you'll succeed. It's about kind of just having an overall perspective and tendency to focus on what's good and bring out the good in things, look for the good in things, have a positive approach when you're looking at something that might be a challenge. It's just kind of where you're kind of trying to look at the bright side of things when you can. Again, not being fake, not, saying, oh, I just like chop half my finger off and I'm going to sit there pretending I'm smiling and everything's great. No, it's not being fake. It's just taking the times when you can put a positive spin on something and approaching it that way instead of approaching it with a negative mindset. So like something just like this is like a minor example, but just say it's thinking about how you think about stuff. Like say if you have to make a phone call and it's not like a major it's not like a bad phone call where you have to tell someone something bad news or anything like that, but maybe it's just a phone call that you just really don't feel like making and you're like, oh, I don't want to make this phone call. Maybe it's just going to be a lot of work involved or a lot of explaining involved. Maybe it's the type of call that you're just not feeling up to handling right now. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I don't want to make this phone call, a positive way to think of this situation would be to tell yourself, I'll be so happy once I make this phone call and I get things taken care of. So even though it's something you don't want to do, the positive aspect could be, well, once I have it done, I'll be so glad that it's done with and I won't have to dread this anymore. So it's kind of just like thinking about how you approach things as they occur in your life. Are you approaching them with a negative mindset, like, oh, this is going to be so terrible? Or are you approaching it with a positive mindset, like, well, yeah, it's going to kind of stink, but once I get it done, then it's done and I'll be so happy that it's over with. So, they say that the most successful and driven people are those that can identify weaknesses while still staying positive. So like I said, it's not about just being fake cheery and, everything's great. It's about saying, okay, well, maybe I'm not great at this, but if I keep practicing at it, I'll get better. And, rather than saying, oh, I'm just terrible at that, I can't do it. It's just kind of how you try and look at all different situations. So like, this is kind of maybe a weird example, but like one thing that I started doing is I don't like going to the dentist. Like I can't stand going to the dentist for my 6-month teeth cleaning. I don't know why. I just can't stand it. I can't stand when they scrape my teeth with that little thing. And I always dread going. So I would be really negative about it. I wouldn't want to go. I would dread it as it was approaching. And it was just it's a small negative, but all those little things add up in like how your overall feeling is. So what I started doing is trying to tell myself, and I tell myself even while I'm in the visit, rather than thinking how much I hate this and I can't wait till it's over, I would sit there and say, I'm really lucky to be able to have health insurance and medical care, that I can get my teeth cleaned and I'm not having dental issues. And I'm sure many people in the world who don't have this luxury of being able to go to a dentist every 6 months and get their teeth cleaned and, have this good health. And just kind of thinking that in my head, which, sometimes I'm kind of like, oh gosh, and I kind of tell myself, yeah, right, whatever, I hate this. But the more I've done it and the more I try and think of it in that way, it honestly really does help get through the appointment. And it just makes me kind of appreciate the situation that I do have the ability to do that. Another way I'll do that too is even like at work, sometimes you'll just get like a project or something in work or in life or whatever that is just really stressful. And sometimes you might even not know how to approach it and you just kind of don't want to deal with it. So what I started doing in some of those situations is I would just tell myself, yeah, this project is really going to be difficult and I'm not really sure how to handle it, but every time something else like this comes up, I get through it. It's happened many times over the course of years and years and years. And I'm really lucky that I have this job that I really love, and I have a great job. And, if I didn't have this job, I wouldn't have this project to do. So this is part of it. And just kind of telling yourself, you can do this. It's not something you haven't handled before. And the reason you have this is because of whatever situation is there, which is probably a positive thing. It's probably related to something that's positive. So, and it really does help. Like, it really kind of just makes you step back and think about it instead of going in with like that negative attitude towards it. It can really help you to just kind of say, you know what, I've done this before. I'll get through it. It's not that bad. I'm lucky to be able to have this work to do. I have a great job, or, I have a great home life. And yes, I have this project that needs to get done, and it's not that easy. It's kind of stressful, but I'm lucky to be in the situation that I am that has allowed me to have this work to do. So it's just kind of thinking about things in a different way when you can, and just practicing it when you can. Like I said, it's not always going to be perfect, and things are still going to be upsetting and stressful, and there's really no way around that. But the more that you can try and approach things with a positive attitude and like a positive like mindset, it will definitely help you in not getting so stressed out and negative about some of those more manageable things in your life that you can handle without getting real upset or stressed out. So they say that perfectionists often use a negative mindset when approaching tasks that can lead to procrastination. And I've talked about this before in other episodes. I think I even have a separate episode on perfectionism and how it kind of leads to procrastination or stops progress or something like that. But perfectionism is a form of a negative mindset because they look at the task and they negatively say, I can never do this right, so I'm not going to do it. I don't know how to do this right, so I'm not going to do it. It's that negative approach where if instead you said, well, I might not know how to do this perfectly, but I'm going to do the best I can with it and see how it comes out, that's a positive approach, and you'll actually get something done rather than not get something done. So, and it's funny too, because they say too that, we also often think that we're more positive than we actually are. Like, I definitely think of myself as a positive person, but then if you think about the things that you'll say to yourself sometimes, like, well, I can't do that. That's going to be too hard for me. Or the one way they described it was giving unenthusiastic breaths when you're asked to try something new. Doubting yourself, things like that. Now, I do always say, and I know this is really terrible, but I definitely have a habit of saying, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot, or oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. But for me, even though I know they say that's wrong, and definitely positive mindset, you're not supposed to be doing that. Honestly, and I might just be making excuses for myself, but I feel like when I do that, I'm almost like, it makes me laugh in a way. Like, I'm not truly thinking that I'm an idiot. I'm not truly thinking I'm stupid. I just kind of laugh at myself because if I did something that I'm just like, I can't believe I just did that, and I'll be like, I'm such an idiot. I'm not really truly being critical of myself, and I know that others could think of it that way if they hear me say it, but I'm more kind of giving myself like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that kind of thing. Like, I don't know how to describe it really, but I'm kind of like, just kind of making light of the situation. I don't really think I'm an idiot. I don't really think I'm stupid. It's just kind of like, I can't believe we just did that. Ha ha, move on kind of thing. So I definitely get what they're saying though, if you're really, when you really mean it. I think there's a difference between saying it lightly and really meaning it. So just kind of think about how you're saying things about yourself, and are you doing it in a positive way? Like, you could do this. Or are you saying like, oh my gosh, this is way too hard, I'll never be able to do it? Because it seems like whenever you have those things that you think are so hard and you'll never be able to do, once you do them, I don't know, it seems like almost every time it's like, oh my gosh, that was so easy. Why didn't I just do that right away? It was like nothing. That happens to me all the time at work. I'll get a project that I think is like, it's something I've never done before. It's really challenging. I don't know how to approach it. And I'll procrastinate on it. I'll just keep putting it aside. And then it's like, wearing on me because I know I have to get it done. And it's always in the back of my mind. And then finally I'll say, okay, I'm just going to get this done. I'll figure it out. I'll do it step by step, whatever. And then once it's done, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I let that take up so much of my time and energy to just sitting there and not getting it done? So it really is often things turn out easier or better than you think a lot of times. They also, talk about when you do limit yourself in those ways, like saying something negative or you can't do this or whatever. A way to kind of reapproach it is to think to yourself, like, would I say this to a best friend? Like if your friend was saying the same things, that they couldn't do this or they'll not be able to do that or this is going to turn out terrible or whatever, would you tell the same to them if they were approaching that situation? Like, would you say, yeah, this is going to turn out terrible, I don't know how you're going to deal with that? Or would you say, well, maybe, if you look at it this way, it might not be so bad. So it's just kind of trying to think in that way. And then don't limit yourself. Like, don't limit yourself in those things that you think are going to be too difficult. Try and think to yourself, like, instead of saying like, this is too hard, if you say things like this is too hard, it just makes it more stressful because you're telling yourself it's going to be really hard. But instead, maybe think to yourself, like, well, how can I handle this? Like, what is it about this project that's making me worried, or not necessarily project, situation, whatever. Like, what is it specifically about this that's making me worried? Like, how can I change that? What can I do about that? And just kind of give yourself time to think before you approach these things so that you can approach them in a positive way. And just to end, I know I hope this isn't too short, but it might be a little bit on the short side this episode. Just to end the positive mindset episode here, I found a few positive quotes that I thought would be kind of fun to share. So I'm just going to read them to you real quick. So the first one I found was from Lucille Ball. And the quote is, "One of the things I learned the hard way was that it doesn't pay to get discouraged. Keeping busy and making optimism a way of life can restore your faith in yourself." So I thought that was a really good quote to think about. This one I really love. It's by John Wooden. Now, I don't know who John Wooden is. Probably he's someone, maybe I'm guessing I should know who he is, but unfortunately I don't. But I just really loved this quote. The quote is, "Things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out." I just really like that because I think it's so true. When you can have two different people with the same situation happen, and one person will see every negative thing that happened in the situation, and the other person will kind of say, yeah, those negative things happened, but here's where we're at, we're moving on, and it's a total different approach of living and having a happier life and being more positive. So I just thought that was really a good quote. And then I love this one too. This is the last one I'm going to read. This is from Winston Churchill, and the quote is, "A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty." Like, I love that. Isn't that a great quote? A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. Like, I think that's like my favorite. I saved that one for last because I just think that's such a great quote, and it kind of really brings it together. It's really all about how you view things and how you approach them, and it can have such a huge impact in how you live and your life and happiness and everything. So I just wanted to throw this out there. It's just something fun to think about. And sometimes if you just stop in your day and think about how you're approaching something and take the time to really think about it, and if there's a different way to approach it in a more positive way, it can really make a huge difference. So, and then when you do it, like when you actually think about it, like it makes you happy in the moment because you're like, yeah, I just changed how I was going to approach that. And it's so much better now. So it's just something that I really like to think about and talk about. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. That's it for today. Please don't forget to reach out to me with any comments, feedback. You can leave a post on the Facebook page. reach out to me through Messenger. I would love to hear from you. My Facebook page is facebook.com/Lola's Frugal Life, or if you would like to join our private listeners group, you can find that at facebook.com/groups/Lola's Frugal Life, and I check that every day, and I will approve your request to join as soon as I see it. Also, if you like the show, please don't forget to subscribe, and if you would be kind enough to leave me a 5-star rating, that would be really, really appreciated. It's supposed to really help a lot with having the show found by others who are searching for this type of show. So that would be really great if you could do that. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a really awesome day.